Am I live now? Oh, right. Public preview. Oh, I guess that's how that works then. Hey, Suk. What's going on? Just setting a few things up and then I'll be ready. Oh, right. Let's mute that. Hey, Will. Ryan's here too. Nice, yeah. So, hello everyone. How you doing? This would be my first live stream, so bear with me while I work out a few bugs. It was a lot harder to set up than I thought it would be. Yeah, so what we're going to do for this is do a bit of Q&A. So if you have any questions, then fire away. And I'll try and answer them the best I can, but satisfaction isn't guaranteed, right? I don't know everything, so. It's currently, 5 to 8 in the morning in Korea, so I've got my morning coffee, and I just had my breakfast too. Oh, sorry. And Anus Repairman's here. Good to see you. So, how have you all been? Anything interesting happen, or anything to tell me? Need to find a better place to put this coffee cup. Oh, influential detour. Ever check out Algoron Cadwalder? No, I've not actually heard of them, but what I did, I've got a pen handy, so I will write down some suggestions. And that's something I was going to ask you as well for some suggestions. Emo math band. That's right up my street there. Algoron. Cadwalder. Hey, made of clay. Hey, what's that? Bloppy 75. I got some great names here. So Sukas, did you go to music kind of school, or did you teach yourself? Yeah, I actually went to college and university, so that'd be high school and college for the American folk among us. I studied popular music. I did guitar, and I graduated back in, I think it's 2011, so it's quite a few years ago. Yeah. Right, do you know where to find any Delta sleep tabs, Ryan asks. Oh, I haven't found any myself. I did tab out the one song that I did on my channel. I forget the name of it now. It's a quite simpler song, so it wasn't really that hard to tab out that one. And I did also tab out the intro to Spy Dolphin as well, but I don't think it's that accurate, but I did put that up on my Patreon, so. And we got here Sleepy Dog's latest EP. I haven't had that much chance to check it out. I've listened to the song Screamers from that. It's quite a good recording. And I like the effects that they use on the album too. Well, there's a lot of questions. I didn't think this would be that many. Right, I'll try and answer as many as I can. That's fine, we'll show that message. Anus Repairman just got home in time for the streams, that's great. Suk's attending music high school in Sweden. Oh, great. Yeah. We ain't playing a lot of math rock though. Yeah, I think back when I was at high school or college with my couple of friends, we were doing a lot of music. I mean, I guess it was kind of alternative, but it wasn't really math rock. And I really didn't really know about the term math rock at that time as well. So, but the stuff that we started to lean towards became that kind of more in the vein of math rock, I'd say. And yeah, Ryan Perrin says, right, Camp Adventure, yeah. Yes, yeah, that's the one. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, everyone's done that one. Stronger Fee. Yeah, that's a really good song. I watched they did a live version of it recently. The ending is arranged differently. I thought that was really good. Benjamin Barnes asked, do you gent or degent, as Jared Dines likes to call it. So, no, I don't. Have you heard of the guy named Ichika? Yeah, is that crazy guitar guy, right? People don't really necessarily classify him as math rock, like as you said there. He's a very talented guitarist, but I haven't really checked out a lot of his stuff, so... But I should really do a bit more on that, because I do get asked a lot about him, so... Alright, was it... Alright. Anus Repairman. Where I'm at in Philadelphia, there is a lot of Midwest emo bands, but not so much math rock anymore. Yeah, I think there's a great majority of like the mathy scene, I'd say, is usually Midwest emo. Reasons for this, I think it's easier to play, right, and it can be a bit more catchier. I'd say with my band Mountains, that when I first started, I was kind of both math and emo. And then recently I write more like Midwest emo style stuff. I think I just enjoy that a bit more, but it is nice to play some technical parts. And it's also really good fun when you're in band practice as well. So when you're in band practice, you can come up with some really cool like mathy ideas that way. Oh, well, I got Fenders here. Love your channel, Steve. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you very much, Fender. Oh, I didn't think I'd see that, so that's great. Oh, thank you. Do you listen to Pretend? I've not heard of Pretend before, so I'll add them to the list. Thank you. Made of Clay. Oh. Right, Serenity. Why do you think math rock songs don't usually use dominant chords? I explained in a few videos. They are used, of course, but they kind of sound quite, very in that jazz and blues kind of vein, aren't they? Don't really fit so much, I'd say, in mathy styles of music, but it doesn't mean you can't use them though. You do see them around the place. Yeah, alright. Fender. Fender's here. You mic or use a DI when you record? I'm using a audio interface, so I've got this mic hidden down here. You can see popping up just here. Oh, sorry. And I got my guitar straight DI'd, so that's why it sounds a bit crappy. I do plan on getting a better audio interface so I can actually have 2 mics running on it, and then 2 condenser mics running on it, and then I'll hook up my amp as well so it doesn't sound so bad. Oh, what do you think of monobody of floral in terms of playing? Again, Monobody is a band I just started listening to recently, so I need a bit more time on their stuff to really give an opinion on their playing. I don't want to say something that I'll end up later regretting. So, hi from Costa Rica. Hey Roberto. Brian. Thank you, Brian Bradbury. That's great. Hi Phil. Hi from Austria. Is it about must be midnight there, about 1 a.m. right? So why are you such a handsome boy, Steve? I was born this way, maybe. Have a alright, hi Steve. Check out a song called Vibe Check of TNG. Is that after the latest record? The problem is I listen to a lot of records and I just have them playing in the background and I never really learn the song names. It's just I remember it by just what that particular song sounds like. That's a big problem of mine. So, oh sorry. Alright. Okay, by the way, I love your channel. I'm sorry if the G Phrygian question was too much. I was writing a math rock song and found the key being in E flat, but in Phrygian. Now, was that on an earlier video I did on modes, I guess you asked that? Or? Suk, yeah, I think Chan used dominant chords, right? So that's why I said it's not, you know, it's more rare than the common. But they have that place right. And especially with the way Mario plays that, you know, have a particular chord sequence, and then he thinks about how he can, you know, link those chords together in between, and it has some really cool chord progressions going on in their music. I just enjoy watching some of his Instagram posts of his guitar playing. That's really good. Thanks, Jake. Alright, so I don't know if it's musically proper, but I always replace my dominant 7 chords with major 6 ones, harmonize with a minor 7 sound. Nice. Yeah, it's perfectly fine to use a major 6 in place of a dominant 7. That's one way you can get around it. It's just that 7th degree is what gives it that dominant tonality. So if you avoid the 7th, you should be okay there. And also with what I tend to do as well, I used to do a lot when I was back at university and stuff, and I didn't realize I was changing key. So let's say you were playing C major 7 and then you went to a G major or a G add 9, or say I did a G add 9 from a C major 7. So I always thought I was just in this key of C there, and then when it comes to the G, I'd be playing a G major 9, which contains the it contains the F sharp, you see. So I've actually switched to the key of G there when I was getting to the 5th of C. So actually I was in G major the whole time when I thought I was in C major. So that's something to bear in mind too. Well, okay, a lot of comments. Alright, let's go back. This is great. I was really worried if anyone would actually turn up, so thank you very much. Alright, Phil, how long have you been playing guitar? Since I was 14, I think. My good friend Will was playing drums, and I used to go around his house and I'd find it fascinating. And so I wanted to get into playing an instrument, so I chose guitar at that time, because I was slightly interested in that. So it went from there, really. And then I did music at middle school for 2 years, and then I went to college or high school, and then I went to university after that to study popular music, playing guitar. George, yeah, the modes lesson. Yeah, the modes are a pretty confusing thing. I do have a lesson on that coming up that I need to make, just explaining the theory behind them more than the playing, what you can do with them. So hopefully that will come out soon. What band brought you into math rock? I would say it would have been a band when I was at late college or start of university. I started getting into bands like Tube Lord and Colour and Blackfish, so kind of like mathcore kind of stuff you could characterize that as, I guess. And I guess it went from like at first like Fall of Troy and At the Drive-In, I'd say. They're not really mafia bands, but they kind of fit into that vein, right? So, well, Fall of Troy, yeah. And I'd go and watch like Colour and Blackfish used to play a lot together. This is back when I was in England, sorry. Yeah, living close to Birmingham, so they played there quite a lot. Yeah. What would you change about your guitar if you could do anything? My guitar or guitar playing? If I could change my guitar, I'd get a Core Series PRS, but need a bit more money for that. So, but I'm happy with this SE one. Korea make pretty good guitars, so I got this one for about, oh, they don't make it anymore. I think I paid about $350 for it. It was a 400,000 one, so yeah, it's around that price. It was on sale, so discontinued model. Yeah. Major 6 chords always sound great. Yeah, I use one. At the start of Cherry Pick, if you know that song by my band. What have we got? Trying to find a good chord progression in that mode of using that technique. Okay. Trying to find a good chord progression in that mode. It's a Phrygian, right? Yeah, Phrygian's is a strange one because it's on the third degree of a scale, so minor. So it's not really used all that much, and it's quite hard to actually sandwich into music. Using that technique. Okay, yeah. So with that, I need a bit more time to actually think about the chord progressions, especially a Phrygian chord progression. If you're playing in C major, you'll be C D. E minor basically is what you're coming off there, and playing a Phrygian chord over that. The reason why it sounds Phrygian is because you're playing a C major scale, and if you're playing an E minor, sorry. So if you're in C major, so you're playing an E minor chord. So what you do is if you take the E major, you change it to major. So you got goes down, and goes down. So you got a lot more sharps and flats in E major, and then basically you apply the spelling of Phrygian over the top. So we got a flat second. Yeah, in that one. Sorry, C D E, a flat second. So it's that flat second degree that makes it sound strange, even though like on theory it just looks like you're playing a C major scale, right, over an E minor chord. So sorry, with an E minor, so you got a B flat and an E flat, right? Is that right? Yeah, I think so. So it'd be the flat second, so C D. So the D has been C D flattened. Yeah, I need more time to think about that. Sorry, George. Yeah. Dominic, what do you think of Don Cavallaro? Really dig them. I've been listening to them a lot recently. Especially their first album, I think it is. Just open that up, but I'm not gonna play any of their music, otherwise I'll get pulled from YouTube. So. Oh, albums. There we go. Yeah. What Burns Never Returns. Because I've listened to American Don a lot, but that one I'm really digging at the moment. So, really nice album to have on the background whilst you're working. All right, back to YouTube. Okay. Math rock is the best rock. Play any other instruments before guitar? No, I didn't play any before guitar. I really like drums though. Every opportunity I'm in a practice room, when we're taking a break, I'll jump on the drum kit. And when I was at university, I used to have my own electric kit, and I used to just play that quite a lot. In fact, I used to play it more than guitar at some points. But yeah, I'd like to play drums as well again, but haven't got the space here, so yeah. Right, I feel your pain with C major to G major 9. There's no problem with changing keys like that. It gives you access to a lot more chords, right? That's your pivot chord there, right? That G major 9. So you could be playing in C major, and you could use that G major 9 to branch into G major, of course. And then you can go from there. You just got to find the corresponding keys, right? So what chords are in both keys. What do you think is the best, easiest way to get into and understand music theory? Nadian asks. Well, I started learning theory not until I got to college, so high school again. I had actual classes on it, so I started from the official music theory books with the first book. But if you just want like a guitarist's introduction to theory, I've been reading, I told you about this one quite a lot, the creative guitar one. And this has a really good introduction, and it's really easy to understand the theory and why it's useful as well to know the theory. So I'd recommend that book. And the second one here is more advanced techniques. But for me, going over this was good because it's a good refresher as well of stuff that I'd learned that I'd forgot. So that's always good. All right. Okay. Right, okay, where are we? Oh my god, so many questions. Thanks for all these. Okay. How old are you? I just turned 29, so I'm not quite at 30 yet. Anus Repairman, Fall of Troy was the first I listened to as well. Yeah. That really captivated me, listening to their music first time. He says he's older than me, yeah, just by a bit, a couple of months. How did you end up in South Korea? So I did a bit on this on my Ask Me Anything video, but that was last year sometime. Sorry. So I'm married. My wife is Korean, and we met back in England. And I think this year is our 10th anniversary. We were together for, I think, about 4 years in England. And then we decided to come to Korea to give that a shot, see how that goes. And here I am. I've been here for almost 6 years now, actually. This August I've been here for 6 years. And that's how I ended up here. Alright. Okay. I noticed that major 7 and what I thought were 5 chords as well. Yeah. So does that mean if you keep going back to C as your tonic chord, you're in C Lydian, G, A, B, C? Yeah. I think that's right. If you do cycle between a G and a G major 9 and a C, any kind of variation of a C major chord there, then you'll probably end up in C Lydian. It's worth pointing out that, remember, the main notes in modes. So like a Lydian is a major scale with a raised fourth. So that fourth degree in the scale sounds a bit clashy. So it's good not to really hang on it, but just to use it to introduce and release tension. Alright, hi, I really love the sound of tapping math rock. I've watched your beginner's tapping video. What do you think is best to learn after those major minor scales? I'd say after that is actually try to apply them in some way in some music. So the ideas that I gave you are just exercises, so they're very linear. They just go up and down the fretboard. So try to do some string skipping and try to incorporate them into some kind of melody you have as well. So have a chord. I think that tapping exercise. I can't remember what I did for it now. It's quite a while ago. Yeah. So I warmed up before this video. Now I've not played guitar for about 20 minutes. Now I'm back to square one again. Ryan Perrin, what do you think of EMGs? I think a lot of people play them too high in tone and becomes way oversaturated. They complain they suck. I've not actually had any personal experiences with using active pickups. In fact, I've never actually played a guitar with active pickups in. But I guess they have that kind of really compressed sounds. That's why they're kind of attractive to those kind of, you know, metal styles and heavier styles of music. But I got no interest in using any, and I got really no opinions on them really either. So. Horses like have you heard of Anthony Fretmont's Garden Solutions? Nope. All right. Okay, where are we going? Okay. Whoa, lots of comments there. Thoughts about Sleepy Dog. Really good for someone who's been playing guitar for 2 years. I don't know what it's like trying to play guitar. You know, when you've been recorded, so you tend to not play as you play as like 90% as well as you could have when you're in private. So I think he's got, you know, tighten up some of his licks and stuff, but he's making some really good progression there. So same for me. I've still got to do a lot of work too. So Suk, yeah, I love Mountains Out of Sight. Mine is great. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a really fun EP to record. Okay, Jake, do you transcribe the songs on your channel yourself? Okay. Pretty much everything I write, I put into, you know, Guitar Pro, tablature software. So I have a, you know, like a musical copy of it there, and I always like share that on my channel as well, don't I? So. I think that's a good way of getting your ideas down, and it really helps you learn you know, rhythms and stuff, and like get to know your playing a bit better as well. So I recommend trying to use some kind of tablature software like that, where you're putting the notes in by yourself. It's a lot of trial and error, of course, and you can check out some tutorials on how to use the stuff as well, but I find it very useful. But okay. Can you guess open and common tunings by ear? No, I can't. But most open tunings are just tuned to some kind of chord. So you can work it out. If I have the guitar, I'd be able to work it out, but not just by listening to it. But maybe, you know, overused ones that I'll probably recognize though. All right. Alright, Douglas, I'm interested in playing math rock, and I'm not sure where to start when it comes to gear. I've just purchased a compressor pedal, but I'm still having trouble making those taps come out very clearly. I'd say technique is the most important thing there, so make sure you're getting your taps quite clean first. You know, I like to hybrid pick, so I use actually my middle and my ring finger instead, and get that strength built up first. Make sure all the taps are coming out cleanly, and you're not really getting any unwanted notes as well. And then the compressor pedal you can use as kind of like a bit of doctoring to like make it sound just a bit more pronounced. It's not really going to change things radically, but technique is the most important thing there, I'd say. Alright, let's get back to the questions. Okay. Alright, where are we? Oh, jeez. This is great. So glad to see so many people here. I think I need to zoom in a bit more here. My eyes. Okay. Okay, thank you, George. Douglas W. What did I miss? An advice. Yeah, some advice there. Stock pickups and the PRSSE. The stock pickups, there's nothing wrong with them. These are replaced with, these are Korean made, I do believe. Tesla, which looks exactly like Elon Musk's company logo, Tesla. Yeah, I'm sorry about the webcam, by the way. I forgot to mention it's not even in 720p. So I will invest when I have the money and get a 1080p camera for you, so I'll come across a lot clearer. Back to the pickups. This one in the bridge is a Tesla Nitro, which sounds like a car as well, I guess. And this has got high mid-range outputs, so it's good for jazz, and balanced bass and high output on that one. And in the bridge, I think it's a Plasma X1, and this one is more of the low end and the high end are boosted on this one. I did want to get a Nitro for the bridge as well, but I think they stopped making them. So I mean, this is through my audio interface, so you can't really get a good idea of how it sounds, really. So on the bridge, it's got that. The kind of like really jazzy feel to it, and then I like to play on the no, you can't see here, sorry, but the middle selector in between the two. Yeah, the bridge sounds like that, and then in the middle you get that balance between. And I like to roll off the tone to about 8 as well, because this guitar is very bright sounding. Okay. Any advice for acoustic players who want to get into the Midwest emo sound? That would be just, I'd say, is on with the chords that you play. So just try and use a lot of like major 9s, add 9s, or like major 11s, but make sure you miss out the 4th. Sometimes it can clash because it's only a semitone away from the 3rd. I had to mess around with that quite a bit. And sus chords as well, so sus 2, sus 4, where you're replacing the 3rd degree. They sound really bright and twinkly as well, which is very synonymous with that Midwest emo sound. So Phil, what is your opinion on complexity in songs? When do you think it's useful and when not? Yeah, that's a difficult question, because I guess it's very down to your own personal opinion there, because some bands, I really dig the really complex sound when they do it, and it's something that attracts me to it. But then other bands I'll listen and be like, yeah, it's just doesn't gel well with me. But I'm not sure if that's just my own personal opinion. They have their place in songs, definitely. I don't think you should just try and purposefully write music that's always complex for the sake of complexity. You're not going to have a fun time there, right? So, but you should, if you want to play in the genre of math rock or alternative music, then definitely has its place, right? So so when I think it's useful and when not. So for me, it depends on the part I'm writing as well. But I tend to aim to write something that's quite complex if I feel like it's needed within a song, and those pieces tend to come out in more of the more the middle section of the song, I'd say, in my own music anyway. I mean, what are your thoughts on that kind of thing? Everyone's got different opinions on that. So have you tried other guitars like Sonic Duo, Mustang, or Telecaster? I've tried not the Sonic Duo, but a Mustang and a Telecaster. Yeah, they're just fine guitars again. Do like Telecasters. Problem is, in Korea, anything Fender, the American series especially, is quite a lot more expensive than it is in the UK or America, so that's why I've kind of swayed away from getting those kind of things. I did have a Mexican Stratocaster that I had back in England, and I brought it to Korea by taking the neck off and putting it in my suitcase, but I sold that to my friend Andrew. Oh, right, okay. Do you listen to Invalids? Yeah, I don't know where I put it, but here it is. I got there. I think this is Invalids, right? Yes, it's not, is it? Yes, it is. Yeah. I have their CD here, well, his CD, I should say. It's one person, isn't it? So yeah, that one's good, and it's been done by a friend of mine, Records. I went to the one in Japan when I was over there on my band, as we played a little set there. I think it was a friend of mine. Oh no, that was Like a Fool Records. I get confused between these things, but yeah, that one's a good CD. Hey Steve, what are your feelings towards the current state of rock music right now? How could it change to get out of a stagnant period? Just rock music in general. Not even really into kind of that much modern rock music. The latest like mainstream modern rock album I listened to was Foo Fighters' new record, Concrete and Gold, and I much prefer their older stuff. And I'm not sure if that's just because of nostalgia or actually enjoy it anymore, but I went to watch them live in Seoul back in August, and they just played all their hits, and it's alright. It wasn't as fun as I watched them back in 2009. So, I don't really listen to the current the mainstream rock, so no, I can't really answer that one. So. How many hours do you practice guitar? Probably about an hour every day, I'd say, but usually I'm working on content for the channel, so that'll be my practice at the same time when I'm trying to create stuff. And I use these 2 books to help me, and I'm always looking for new ideas as well, for songwriting ideas, so that's something I like doing. What is the difference between Midwest emo and math rock? Midwest emo is like, say, like loud, brash chords, lots of major. I guess math rock can be more of the odd timing and rhythmically complex is probably the best way of putting that. Thanks, Ryan. That's great. What guitars do I have? I have Nova's this PRS SE and the Squire standard Stratocaster. I bought the Squire just to mess around in some kind of different tunings. I would have paid for a more expensive guitar, but I thought just because I'm going to mess up the neck by just changing the tunings all the time, I decided to go with that one instead. It's actually quite a nice guitar for the price point as well. So. Alright, what do you think of learning songs in alternate tunings as a beginner? Alright, so with that one, I got into alternate tunings because of the band American Football. Or it was Dashboard Confessional, I think. Screaming Infidelities. I remember tuning the guitar to a different tuning for that. But I didn't mess around with it until, quite recently actually. Like I said in quite a few other videos, I think the danger with open tunings is you let that open tuning guide your playing and your songwriting more than you applying things, because you're putting the guitar in a different tuning. So suddenly, like I said, your current knowledge of your scales and chords and positions and stuff is all messed up. So it's important that when you do choose a particular tuning, that you find out where the particular scales are, or where the chords are. Changing to a different tuning does make it easier to play certain chord shapes as well, which is great. There's a website called I think it's Alternative Tuning Database, and you can put in any tuning there, and it will generate scales for you. All you need really is the major and minor scale of them, that a particular key, and you'll be able to pretty much come up with some new ideas there, and you're not letting the so much the tonality of the chord, just having this general like 4th degree major directing your whole harmony there, so you can actually purposefully take control and mold the song or the ideas that you want. How is it even possible to tap with your pick? Just take your time. Yeah. I like to hybrid pick a lot. And you just go with your middle finger. It's not so hard. It's more your ring finger, building up strength for that one. So yeah, again, slow practice with that one with a metronome, and make sure you got the technique precise before trying to play faster. EMGs can have a really cool sound when clean. Oh, that's great. That's good to know. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, math rock is based around weird time signatures, and not always just that. And syncopated rhythms are very important in math rock as well. So not just playing on the main beats, as unexpected rhythms, basically. So we call that what's the term? Angular rhythms. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Thanks. Favorite. Oh, where's that gone? Oh my god. This is weird. Where's that gone now? I scrolled down on the list and it just went crazy. Oh, yeah, okay. So, what's your favorite Blackfish song? Oh, the other day I was on the way back from work and I was listening to "See You in Another City." Oh, I think that's my favorite work by them. Champions is great too. Oh, where's my favorite one by them? Again, names elude me. Let's open that one up. It's a Carnivore probably, or Make Your Bed and Lie in It, I'd say. Yeah, that's a great song as well. Yeah, I wonder, do a lot of you know Blackfish? Yeah, they split up quite a long ago, but no, they were really good, like, I guess you could say a mathcore band, I guess some people would say. The Midwest emo is just cool, beautiful chords, like in math rock, but time signatures more often. Yeah, most often, sorry. Yeah, that's a good idea, Ryan. Yeah, Power Tab Editor. That one's free as well, but it's a bit more simplified. But it's great for getting your ideas down. And having an audio interface is great as well, because you can just plug your guitar straight into it and then record your ideas directly as well. Alright, so what makes open tuning so popular in math rock styles these days? Hugh Justice. What a name. I don't know, if I hazard a guess, I guess people see someone playing in a particular open tuning and they're like, wow, that looks cool, I'll try that out, and then they just get stuck stuck in a rut of trying to play in open tunings, right? A lot of the same riffs can be played in standard, but maybe it's more challenging to do so. Open tunings, because of these open strings, make it a bit easier to play a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs which you get in open tunings, and then you can put a capo on to change the key of a particular song as well. Whereas in open tunings, standard tuning, you're only really going to get, it's quite hard to use more than one key using these hammer-on and pull-offs with the open strings, so I guess that could be a main reason for it. Sad Child Boy, what is that thing on the end of your fretboard? Yeah, this one's I forget the name of the company. It's fret wrap. So yeah, this one just dampens your strings. So let's say you're playing like something that's quite fast, or you got some kind of something that doesn't require open strings and you want it to sound a bit more clean, then you can chuck it on like the first fret. It can sound a bit more you realize this, you can see there, if I throw it back on there, so let's say you accidentally hit like an open string at the end of that, so if you were doing that again, then that string is completely muted in a way. It's good for studio work if you want to try and make things sound really precise as well. And on here as well, it does a little job of dampening as well, and it's good for tapping some stuff as well, right? Because you don't want that, if you got it like that, So you got all those kind of harmonics in between. And you shouldn't rely just on this. I should point out that you should actually learn to control your technique, you know, with your left and your right hand, so that you don't really get any undesired sounds coming through on the guitar. So hope that answers your question there. Right, where are we going next? Oh, seen in your vid you did on how to play like you're a bit young. My question is, will you make a vid on how to play guitar? Like, yeah, I was asked about that. Oh, maybe, but I think that guy's a bit above my level of playing, so I'd try. But you know, those videos take a long time to put together. That the other young one I started on, started researching, I say the end of November, and I finished it, you know, start of January, right? So I need to look at all of her playing, and then I need to you know, analyze her music. So there was only tabs for one of her song, and it wasn't really that great, so I tabbed out the two songs that she plays, you know, the Telecaster, the 6 strings, so it was a Nautilus and Pelagic, and I had to watch her play that on YouTube at like 50% speed, and like watch what notes she was exactly playing, and then work it out myself, and then put it into Guitar Pro. So it's a very it's a very tedious process, but I managed to tab out the entire song. I wouldn't say it's 100% accurate. Only she really knows that. So and then after that, I need to analyze the music to see what's going on. So then I, you know, separate it all into parts and look at what's going on in melody, you know, harmony and timing, and playing wise, techniques, all those kind of things. So it takes a bit of time to research. So, and problem is with those videos is I always go over the top, so they always end up being, you know, that one's 40 minutes long, and I felt like if I cut it any more, then I wouldn't be doing justice to all the research that I did on it. And the same with the TTNG one I did. I think the original length for that was about an hour long, and I cut it to 20 minutes by just cutting out parts that, you know, like certain sections of the song and stuff like that. So alright, Mark, check out my band Fundamental Kink. Alright, I'll write that down, thank you. Fundamental, is that fundamental or fundamental? Fundamental Kink. Jay, how often do you write songs in minor? I'm still learning to play in minor keys. Yeah, that, Jay, is a really good question. I always end up writing in major a lot of the time. So these days I've been trying to start writing, you know, more of minor progressions in my music. One thing I like about the, you know, whole open tuning thing was, if you listen to like This Town Needs Guns, you know, TTNG, the earlier stuff is all tuned to like major chords or major open. You know, the tuning is in major, right? But on the newest album and the one before, is also a lot of minor open tunings going on there. So a lot of their songs can be in minor. And I thought this was quite cool. That's something I noticed. All right. Vubo, sorry. When you make a song, do you have an idea for what you want it to sound like in your head, or do you go where the music takes you? A bit of both, but more about just where the music takes me. And I think having a knowledge of theory helps, but it can be limiting in a way. But I'm always thinking about like what chord goes with another chord. I really like songwriting techniques, so sometimes that limits me to not really going outside the box as much, as that's something I want to work on in the future, is try and branch out, not thinking too much about the theory so much when I'm writing parts. But I tend to try and write a harmony first, like I said, having some kind of foundation. And because I'm the only guitarist in my band, I try to do both things. I try to play harmony as well as you know, some kind of lead melody in a way. If anything, in my band, Ali, the bass player, becomes like the lead guitarist anyways, because I'm singing and usually strumming some chords, and he'll be playing something up here anyway. But with two guitarists, then it's a different approach there, right? So I find if someone else writes the guitar part, then you know, I like to listen to it before I go to practice, let's say, so I can have some time to hear what's going on and then write down, you know, what's going on in that particular piece of music and try and work out some kind of accompanying part to go along with it. It's hard when you go to practice and someone's wrote something and then they expect you to come up with something on the spot, because I like to jot things down and stuff, and especially if it's like, you know, I want you to harmonize this particular, you know, run, then, you know, I need to know like what notes, you know, work out the run that that person's playing and then work out a harmony on top of that. So with guitarists, it's always good to meet up regularly before practice, in between, you know, jam sessions, so you can go over, you know, like new song ideas and stuff. That's what I did with Ali a lot as well when we first started our band. Is I'd go around to his place and we'd come up with ideas together, or, you know, I'd have an idea and we'd put something together that way. But coming up with your own ideas is a bit different. But a lot of trial and error. Make sure you record your stuff as well, so, you know, the next day you come back to it and you're like, hey, how did I play that part again? I've completely forgotten, you know. Yeah, so when you got little nuances going on in your playing and stuff as well, that's important to try and record that as well. I hope that helps, Vubo. Phil, what do you love and what do you hate about writing your own music? I think I said that in the other one. Is getting. I love that I really interested in songwriting techniques and, like, you know, nice chord progressions and new ideas to put into my music, but sometimes that can also be a limiting factor when like if someone who's got not a very broad knowledge of theory, let's say, and then they write a part, I'm like, oh, that sounds really, really good, and it's because they've like not applied the same things that I'm applying to music. So I'd say that's probably what I hate, not necessarily hate, but not really enjoy about my own writing and my own music. My own music, I think with my own music, it's you know, you write something and you can play it quite well, and especially with the singing side of things, and then you go and record that. Whoops, sorry. And after you record it, you know, like a year later or a couple of months later, you're like, yeah, I could have played that bit so much better. You know, it really niggles at your, you know, I could have sung that bit, you know, so much better if I had more time, and, you know, things like that, I guess. Oh, what's this like? That's actually a band name. That's amazing. I'll write that down. It's a great name, by the way. Yeah, there's a band called Bygones as well, if you've not heard of them. They sound like the early Terra Melas as well. Check out them. Bygones. Garden Solutions. Right, Ryan, I really want to play guitar now, but I'm in the coffee shop reading research papers. Yeah, that sucks. I feel your pain. I'm doing a master's course at the moment, a distance learning one from England, and I'm on my thesis, my dissertation at the moment, and yeah, it's really hard to come up, you know, a research question, and you read a bit more literature, and then you're like, oh, you know, I changed my mind on my question again, and you get that vicious cycle, and having to do all the work yourself is quite difficult as well. But I'll be glad when it's over. I finished this September, so I'd just be able to concentrate more on this course, and I work full time as well, so I really don't have that much time. Can you play math on a Strat? Of course you can. I've tried to use my Strat live, and what I found is it's too clinical. Yeah, that's what I would say. So it just points out all of the little screw ups I do when I'm trying to sing and play at the same time, and then, you know, the band's playing twice the speed we played in practice, and that's why I like the humbuckers with the tone turned down a bit more. That's what you notice with jazz guitarists, that they play all these really fast riffs with like the tone turned down, because it makes it sound more smoother that way. Like that really points out any mistakes you play. But then again, don't be put off using a Strat live. Most bands these days tend to use Telecasters, especially in the Japanese scene. When I was over there, like 90% of the bands were using Telecasters, I'd say. So Ryan, hey man, love your videos. Your exercises really helped me get the hang of tapping on guitar. Oh, that's great, thanks. Thinking of getting some pedals soon for my guitar. Which effects would you recommend I get? Funny story, yesterday I was actually trying to buy a reverb pedal after work, and I went to one music shop and I asked, do they have any reverb pedals? So he had a look, and it had like good 50-60 pedals, not a single reverb pedal. So I was like, I'll try the other place that I like going to, and I went there, and they didn't have any reverb pedals anywhere as well. So I tried another place, and they had no reverb pedals. So I couldn't get a reverb pedal. This sound is really really dry, dry signal. So I wanted to actually put some reverb on there. So, but unfortunately, I couldn't do that. Pedals that I recommend, that's totally up to you. If you want to be playing more, more like kind of electronic kind of math, bands, like Battles, for example, then. Terra Melos use loads of effects now as well, don't they? So I'm not really that much of an expert on pedals. For me, when I play live, I just use Boss Overdrive, and then I have this this one here, which is a Vox Flat 4 Boost. This one's one of the Tone Garage. It's got the what do you call it? Preamp valve in it, so it's a nice warm tone to it. And this one I just use as a boost, so I have the gain quite low. And it also has a mid boost switch as well, which is good for cutting through the mix when you're playing live as well. But it's a big pedal, and it takes a lot of batteries if you want to battery power it. And it weighs a lot as well. But it's a great pedal. I use that one is to boost my overdrive signal, but I play quite clean when I play live. I've got it on now on this setup that I got, and I'd use that as a boost. And I got a compressor, but I don't use the compressor on the humbuckers. I find that I don't really need the compressor with these humbuckers. But on the Strat with the single coils, I find the compressor really helps with that one. So, and got tuner pedal, and I got chorus as well, which I really like that one. I want to get a delay and a reverb pedal. I think Earthquake Devices do Dispatch Master, and that's got both reverb and delay built into it. And that's a really nice pedal, but again, I need to put the money together to get that one. But I'd recommend a nice overdrive pedal. If your amp's got reverb on it, then maybe you don't really need that so much. Maybe some delay if you want to. If you're playing in a band, then I'd recommend a boost pedal is always essential. You'll find it like, in practice maybe it's okay, but when it comes to live, you're like, damn, that part did not stand out at all, and you work out these things as you go along. But make sure you do your research is important. You don't want to end up with something you're not really happy with. Right, okay. You should not make music complex for the purpose of being complex. You tell Dream Theater that. They're doing it in a musical way as well, I'd say. Not really just to be complex on purpose. All right. Are you living in Korea? Yeah, I'm in Korea still. What do you do as a full-time job? Dominic asks. I teach EFL, so English as a foreign language, at elementary school. It's not too far away from here. I've been working at that same school for 2.5 years now. And when I get my master's degree, I plan to teach at university level. So that's what I do. Phil, no questions, just want to thank you for your videos, being through straight to the point. Alright, well, thank you, Jose. Castillo. Xavier Castillo. Hello there. Hello, welcome. Distress. Have you heard of the band The Exploration? No. All of these bands I've not heard of. You know, these days I've been doing whilst I'm at work. I've been trying to listen to 2 or 3 new bands a week, and I'll try and research some information about them, and so I know a bit more about the whole scene of alternative and math rock music slowly over time. And I find knowing a bit about a certain, about the band and the recording really help when you listen to the music, because you start to get more of a, more of the story of the album or the creation of it. So I really enjoyed that. At Distress loved it. Do you know? Thomas asking Phil there. Right, where are we? Okay. Every time I scroll down on this chat, it takes me right to the bottom, so I have to scroll all the way back up. Need to fix that. Hello, I love your channel. Thank you. Regards from Chile. Awesome, thank you. Coyote. Are you a self-taught guitarist? And well, both self-taught, and I've had teachers, and I've learned at college and university level. Another question about that guitarist. Ikika. I'm probably butchering that person's name, and I feel terrible for it. Animals as leaders, it's kind of lame now. I've not listened to them. Yeah. Oh, okay. An early question on tapping with a pick, I meant tapping with the actual pick. Well, I've not tried tapping with the actual pick. I know it's a technique, but it's something, again, maybe I'll get round to one day. Alpha Male Tea Party, that is a band I actually already have on the list, so thanks for that, Mo. Is math rock your favourite genre to listen to, or primarily to write for? I find that I listen to extreme metal bands religiously, and when I compose ambient mathy Midwest stuff for my solo project. Yeah, Peralta. I think I've seen you, on Patreon or something. I recognise that name. I listen to other styles of music, of course. Really into punk music. I really enjoy that, and general rock music too, I guess. Yeah. But when I write, I'd say the same as you. When I compose, it ends up being either ambient, mathy, Midwest style when I play. I think that's just my style of playing. But I can do I haven't done it for a while, but, jazz improvisation and stuff like that, because I learned that during university time. So that's something I don't really listen to musically wise, but it's fun to play though. Headcrub asks, do you like the Jonas Brothers? Well, they're my favourite, they are. Anyone else here use a fun pick? I do have one. I haven't tried to use one for a while though. I like to use hybrid picking, or I just use just my fingers. Yeah. Did you make that capo? It's not a capo, it's a string dampener. Hi all. Alright. I use these picks called slick picks. They're white. I love them, and I don't plan on going back to regular picks anytime soon. Yeah, I think I've heard of that brand before. Yesterday I bought some of these ones are made in Canada, called Tusk picks, and they do 3 different varieties. So they got bright, warm, and dull sounding, and these are the warm series. But I got the 1mm because they looked quite thick, even though they're 1. And usually I use the jazz free pickups, maybe 1.14 or 1.5, So I'm giving this a go. So a little thinner than I usually use, but I'll see if I like it. Give it a few more days. Okay, Nova asks what my day job was. I covered that a bit earlier. I said like a EFL, English as a foreign language teacher over here. Latin American math. Yeah, Southern American bands have been recommended quite a few recently, and I've been checking a few out. Can't remember the names off the top of my head, but it sounds pretty cool, like what I've been listening to. Absolute heavy catchy riffage from the UK. Awesome, yeah, I'll check them out. Thanks, Mo. Can you release the tabs for Goodbye? I didn't actually tab the entire song, only the intro. With a lot of Toe stuff, it's usually the same idea repeating on the guitar and the bass and the other guitarists maybe, and especially the drummer become more of the melody almost in a way, the rhythmical features of the music. So it's like you have this repeating idea going on the guitar, right? And then you have them like filling in over the top. So I think that's quite an interesting approach. I'd say quite a bit of their music's like that. But I saw them live last year. They've come to Seoul, so that was such an amazing gig. Like that drummer is just phenomenal. Like so good. And we were like right at the front as well, because they're not that big over here, so there wasn't a tremendous amount of people there. So Seal-san, I want to know what you said. I am Korean, so could you add videos? I don't think I could do that. My Korean it's all right. It's not that great, but fun fact: I was in Seoul 2 weeks ago. We watched a Tricot play, a Japanese math rock band. Hung around after the show, and then this Korean guy was like, "Hey, let's talk about math rock." So I think I was the first person that I've ever seen in public that knew me from the YouTube channel. So that was great, and he took a selfie with me as well. So it's kind of funny, that was. And I think he was the one on my very first video I did. He translated Korean subtitles on that one. I think it's him. Yeah, I sent the guy who did it a message, but he never replied. So that was pretty cool. And that video, I just turned the camera on and it was all done on the fly. None of it was researched before. So but that one's got the most views. But I find my other content is much better. So I wish people would discover that more. But I'm not in charge of the YouTube algorithm there, am I? So all right. Carlo, I think I've got Vasquez. Sorry again with this, I'm terrible with names. I think I've seen you somewhere, maybe on my videos or Patreon or something like that. What type of strings do you recommend for bass tapping to get a high-end sound and doesn't sound so deep? Again, I think that could be to do with the pickups as well as the string gauge, maybe. So if you take like a jazz bass and a precision bass, the precision bass sounds a lot more thinner than the jazz bass, so maybe that would help. And I say a thinner gauge set of strings would probably help out on that as well. Or you can use a pedal, EQ pedal, so when you do tapping you can switch to on and have the mids boosted on that. And also try, generally on your bass amp you have a lot of bass amps have different frequency controls, so mess around with them. Probably the high mids is what you're looking for there if you want to make those taps shine through a bit more. Hi, okay, what 5 math rock riffs do you recommend for someone that doesn't know how to play the genre? Probably ones that really attracted me when I first started listening was SC Premix by the Fall of Troy. I spent ages trying to learn that, and it felt nice when I finally got that down. Will says Bygones is the Terra Melis man. Oh, that's why they sound like Terra Melis. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, so it was that, and I learned what else? I think it was Every Place is a House by Maps and Atlases. That was another one. I learned, was it Melody 4 by Terra Melos? I have I really can't remember that one because that was years ago. I did a cover of that. It's up on YouTube. So we got the FC Premix, Maps and Atlases, Every Place is a House, Melody 4 by Terra Melos. Try that one. It's quite difficult, so slow it down at first, and you can find tabs online for that one. And I'd say Never Meant by American Football. That's another one that I learned as well, which was good fun. One more. What riffs did I learn first? Mostly all I remember is Code and Cambria riffs because I spent such a long time learning them when I was at college and stuff. So you forget stuff that you don't practice, right? So one more. I'd recommend learning. What was another riff that I found fun to play as well? Is that probably the Don Caballero, the I can't remember how to play that one again. Again, I haven't practiced it in ages. But the from the American Don album, "Fire Back About Your New Baby's Sex," I think it's called. The first song on that album. That's really cool. And then you could use a loop pedal to loop the harmonies that go over the top of that. So that's a good introduction into using a loop pedal too. So there's 5 songs I'd recommend. Alright, I've done it again. Sorry, Nova, I'm coming back up to you. Alright, I used to be kinda punk thrashy style bands. We split up after various reasons. What would you recommend doing to get better at math style playing? Being more arty with music instead of loud. Oh yeah. To get better at mathy style playing, just learning general guitar techniques is what mathy people are using really. Tapping is a big one, I guess, and also finger picking a lot of bands use as well. I like to use that too, and that takes a long time to develop that one. To get the precision correctly. So them two, tapping and finger picking, is useful. I like to use hybrid picking too, so I can have that variation between soft and playing loudly as well. If you want to be a bit more arty, then start to research different chord progressions and also different chords and harmonies as well. Different chord progressions. So just start with like really simple chord progressions like 1-4-5 and 2-5-1, these kind of things, and you can come up with some cool ideas like that. Because I was going over the other day, so I had like C major, let's say, and then what was it? And then A minor, and what was after that? And then I went to D minor, sorry, and then a G major, and then back to C. So we got what there? So 6 C D E F G A, yeah, and then D minor, number 2. So 1 6 2, and 5 a G, and then back to the C again. But they're just really basic chords, and you can see that I'm doing a lot of unnecessary jumping around the neck. So that's where learning the cage system will help you. So where you can, like, for example, use oh, I sound a bit out of tune. Let's tune up quickly. So let's say you have this C major shape here that everybody knows, and then that would go to there, and then where can you play it next? Well, you could play it like that, and then lastly down here. And so there, so wherever you are on the fretboard, that means you can access that particular shape. So in my example here, we started on the C, and then we had the A minor next. So if we go here instead, it's the same for the minor chords as well, sorry, I should say. So let's say we had C minor. And then we can have, oh, sorry. So there, again, we can just go across the fretboard using the cage system. And then, so if we had our progression starting the C, the 1, and then next we had the A minor. So we could either come there or we could play it here. And next was the D. So we could play that there, or we could play it there. We could play it there, right? And so after the D, we had the G, so we don't really want to jump all the way up there, so we can play this down here. So, or better still, we could play it that way around instead. So you have like, so the A, and then we have the D, so we could, let's say, play it like that, and into the G. There we just played the same progression, the 1, 6, 2, 5, back to 1, but we've not moved all around the fretboard, right? We've stayed in the one place. But they're very generic major chords, right? So then you can start to mess with, like, yeah, it sounds better as a C add 9, right? Or maybe we'll keep that one the same, maybe, and then maybe we'll play a D minor 13 there instead. Play the regular C. And then go back to C major 7, for example, there. But then, like, there's a nice little jazzy feel to that progression, right? And then you can start to do like Chan style, or it's very reminiscent of Jimi Hendrix, where you start to put notes in between those chords. So you could have like, just a really basic idea there. And all the notes I'm using in between the chords there are just notes from the chord tonalities, so just the 1, 3, and 5. So there I'm starting with C major 9, and next I'm going to jump to the A. But all I'm doing is using notes from that C shape there. And then we jump to the A, and I got that chord there. So we just jump using from the with that one. So, and then we come down to the D here. Then we go to the G. You have that slide there, which sets it back up to the C. And all those notes in between, like I said, are just notes from the caged system there. So that's why it's very useful to know that, because you can just pretty much improvise any parts if you just know the knowledge of where all those shapes are. And it's also very safe as well, so you're not going to sound out of key if you try and do that, but it will become very boring very quickly, so you need to add in those colourful notes, the second, the third the second, fourth, and sixth degrees and seventh degrees there to add a bit of colour to your playing as well. Alright, so let's jump back into the questions. Alright, Ryan, how do I convince my blues rock band to play more mathy things? We made one song that with that in mind, but it reverted to all four time signature, more ambient than mathy. I wouldn't say there's too much wrong with that. Maybe they don't particularly enjoy playing more alternative styles of music. Maybe you can introduce them to a few bands if they're not really heard the style before. Maybe you can gauge their interest through that. You can also try and start a new band if that's possible too. That's one way you can satisfy that craving. Don't worry too much all about being in 4/4. A lot of the music that I write tends to be in 4/4 anyway. Just the rhythmic complexity of it, I guess, is more important if you want to make it sound a bit more mathy. So hopefully that helps you. Alan E. Alright, do you have any tips for transitioning between riffs? It always sounds really jamming when I go from jarring, sorry, when I go from one riff to another. Yeah, so this is where, like I said earlier, a bit of knowledge of theory can help. So if you know your riff is based around a particular chord tone or just a particular open notes, let's say it's like E or something. So I think it's about knowing where you want to take your riff next to what the tonality of the riff is, and then using the riff before, trying to end on a note that fits within that next riff, that next idea you're coming up with. So then you find it works out better that way. So let's say in that example it's based all around E, but when I come to this A here, so we could have end up on the A there. So if we had E, so we're playing the E major, so we got E, F, G sharp, A, and B. As the right file goes down, and yeah. So that if you try and use one of those free chord tones, so try and use the G or the B to make your next riff from, like. Use the G as well. So just trying to build riffs from the chord. This one of the notes that's within the riff before it, you might find is a good way to branch into gluing two sections together or riffs together. So I'd say that's a good starting point there. Okay. Hello from France. Oh, well, thank you. It must be quite late in France, so thanks for staying up. What's your favorite time signature? Mine would be 3/4. Perhaps 5/4, I'd say. 5/4 or 7/8, I'd say they're two signatures that when I write an odd timing that I usually end up in. I don't think that's because it's just personal preference. I think over time, bands that I've been in and stuff that I learn usually fall in between those two time signatures of 5/4 or 7/8. So I think I just got kind of accustomed to them, so that's why I like them. Alright, do you write more commonly in standard tuning, or are you usually looking for alternate tuning? I always tend to write just in standard tuning just for ease, especially like playing live as well. If I get open tuning, then maybe I have to have two guitars or tune in during a set, and that's really not that comfortable to do. And lugging two guitars around with you is never fun, so I just tend to write in standard tuning. But when I'm at home, then I'll mess around quite a bit in open tunings and come up with some ideas. So I do quite like twinkly riffs and stuff, but that whole market then is very saturated, so I don't really bother uploading stuff like that because loads of other people are doing that kind of thing. So I just try and stick in standard tuning. Oh, yeah, yes, I'm a proud patron. Have to go back to work. Oh, thanks. See ya. Thank you. Thoughts about tiny moving parts. I added them all to my. Well, I'd like to use Spotify, but you can't use it in Korea, so I use Deezer. I added all their albums and have been listening to them. I think I would have. It's good stuff. I would have enjoyed it more if I was back in my early 20s. I'd say it's got that kind of like really emo, almost like Taking Back Sunday in the vein of that kind of vibe, I'd say. And I used to enjoy them a lot when I was a bit younger. So nothing wrong with their music though. I'd say it's they just released a new CD as well. The one before sounded a bit too produced. That's something I don't really particularly like with music. I want it to sound a bit more realistic as well, but I am listening to their stuff. They have got some really cool ideas in their songs too. All right, so how to get introduced to math rock? I'd say depends on what styles of music you like. So if you like already kind of alternative styles, then you're gonna easily really get into more of the alternative styles of math rock band, the more the less melodic but more on the angular side of things. So I'd say check them kind of bands out first. But if you like more melodic stuff like me, your songwriting and stuff, then start with bands like Color and Tube Lord and Tangled Hair. American Football, even though they're not really math rock, but they kind of fit in that vein, right? So more of the math pop, I would say, style of music. Sorry. What do you think of math rock without a compressor? I don't think Tim Collis has one. Yeah, I don't think he uses one. You can play without one. You just got to work on your technique quite a lot. I know that Chun, they use the Warden compressor, and apparently that one's meant to be really good from Earthquaker devices, and that can really, the way that they sound live and stuff, it's kind of like one volume, but their playing and stuff, I think, I think the compressor goes really well with the way they play, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. So it's a difficult one to say when or where it's not needed. So again, it's experimenting with a compressor. And particularly, I don't really use one. I only use one when I'm playing my Strat, really. So no, have I ever listened to Tube Lord? It's one of the bands that got me into the mathy kind of math pop style. I really like Tube Lord. They split up quite a while back now. How long have you been playing math rock / Midwest emo for? Probably since I went to university, so it's like 2008, 2009, the styles. But before that, bands that I did were always influenced by bands like Braids and the Get Up Kids. I was listening to a lot of that. So it was always kind of that within that emo vein of music anyway that I was playing before I got into math rock. So I think it was kind of a gateway into it. The band I wish I'd listened to when I was back at that stage was Colossal. If you've checked them out, like really really good band that one is, and they got an EP and an album. And is it? I forget the name of it. The EP is Brave the Elements. That one's really good, and the album was I can't remember the name of it now, but that one's also really good to check out too. Really good fingerstyle playing on that, and it was quite a while ago, so I think it's like late 90s or early 2000s, the album, and that's really cool if you want to get make a transition between that more emo into the math rock style. So. Is that the Rolf emoji? I just hovered over it. I didn't know what it was. Carlo, what's the future of Mountains? We're still together. We played a show a couple of weeks back, but thing is now that Ali, the bass player, lives in Seoul, I live in Daegu, and Andrew, the drummer, is moving to Busan. The Seoul is in the north of South Korea. I'm in the middle, and Andrew's moving to the bottom. So we're all a good train journey away from each other now. So it's going to be more difficult to practice, but we're going to be playing shows 4 or 5 times a year, I guess, and we aim to go and play abroad more. Like we played in Japan and Taiwan, and you know, South Korea doesn't really have a Mafi scene, so when we did play in Japan and Taiwan, we went down a lot better with the audience, so that was really good. We are writing some new songs. I have 2 new songs. The one of them is the Incandescent, you know, that one. Sorry. That one, and the other one was Apellion. Yeah, there's that one. So there again, they're not really that mathy, they're more like Midwest emo slash kind of some mathy ideas within the songs, like what's that chord at the end there? No, that's not it. Oh, this is gonna kill me now. Nope. Anyway. And we have one more song in the works, and then I think after this 3 songs or 4 songs, we're going to try and record a new EP, but it will be a slightly different direction to the stuff that we've done before. But I really look forward to doing that. Orion says our drummer listens to it and our bassist likes metal. I send them stuff often, but it doesn't usually get a response. Oh well, thanks. I just refuse to play anything else. Alright, good luck with that. Harrison Foreman. I wrote this chord progression and the last chord works alright in a song, but I don't quite understand why it works theory wise. C minor, B augmented, okay, and G major, sharp major 7, D major 7. You see the last chord doesn't work there. So you're playing a B augmented, what's that? The 4th degree of the same. So, D, E, F, F, G, A, B, C minor, B, C, D, C minor, G minor. It's hard to work out what key that one is in. There's no chords that really stand out there. D, so D major 7 and G, so D, E, F, G. So D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, so because yeah, that's why because having G major 7 and the D major 7, they don't fit within the same key. So yeah, you got D major 7. So I think what's happening there is you're just changing key. So from, let's say, D, C, just take that as a F flat instead, F flat major 7 instead of a G sharp one. Sorry, not G sharp, not A F flat, A flat. Sorry, A flat major 7 to a D major 7. Yeah, I'd say you're going from you've got A flat barrel ends and down. Maybe you're going from a different key and then you're switching to that last chord. You're basically jumping to D major 7 or a key with D major 7, and that's how that works there. Yeah, I need more time to look at that one. That's a nice chord progression. C minor 7. Sorry. G major 7, G sharp major 7. major 7. Yeah, it's kind of a jump, and you can tell that they're not really within the same key, but that does work. You're just jumping key there, basically. Matt, it's 2:15 in the morning, South Africa. Thanks for staying up. All right. Between math rock and post rock, willing to make lesson on post rock. Don't really know a lot about post rock. I've been in like a shoegazy post rock band in the UK. Was heavily into post rock for a while, and then it just became quite dull to me. And it's the same idea repeated song after song, right? The whole just one giant crescendo basically for the entire song. But I still do dig bands that have that post-rock element. As Enemies is a good example of that. I guess the Sad They split up. I really like them. Have you ever had problems with injuries caused by wrong guitar technique? Haven't had any injuries, but you get strains and stuff. One thing that I worked out recently is the importance of keeping your wrist as straight as possible when playing guitar, because when your wrist is in this position, you'll feel it puts a lot of pressure here. But if you just bring it back underneath the guitar and try and keep it straighter, that's quite a stretch to do that warm-up routine there. If you have your wrist like this, you're going to feel a lot of pressure here and it doesn't feel that nice. So if you bring it back underneath, it's going to solve a lot of your problems there. But it's not always possible to do. If you bring your fingers into that position, then naturally you want to stick your wrist out, so it's really hard to get the finger position correct as well. But try and keep your wrist as straight as possible is something that's quite important. And always warm up before you try and play stuff fast as well. And always try and warm up with a metronome, because that's a good gateway into just practicing in time when you haven't got time to think about using a metronome when you're writing your stuff. Yeah. Yes, I made it. Welcome. All right. Hi, everyone. Can you recommend any bass-driven math rock bands like Elephant Gym, Ventures of Willie? That's a fantastic name there. So bass-driven bands. Elephant Gym, I discovered was probably last year, and fell in love with their stuff straight away. And then I checked out some live videos of them as well. I was like, wow, there's a lot going on with the a bass like that. Another band from Hong Kong, they are called, the name eludes me. They are 3-piece, and the bass player, he does a lot of bass tapping, and it's a very bass-driven music as well. Forests, that's the one, Forests, if you've heard of them. So that's a lot of bass going on there. My band as well is very bass-driven as well. If you do listen to the let's say Outside Out of Mind EP, you'll hear there's 2 bass parts on most of the songs. So one's playing like a more lead part, and the other one's playing a rhythm. And it's very driven bass, whereas the guitar can be held off on the gain a bit. And especially on our our debut album that we did, I played quite cleanly on that one, and then Ali had more of the driven bass sound. Right. I asked about day job again. I think it's the 3rd time now. So I teach EFL, English as a foreign language, at a local elementary school, and I do that full time each week. Thanks for following me on Instagram, by the way. Yeah, I try to follow everyone that follows me back on Instagram, because it's fun to see all the stuff that you're all up to as well. Some of you live in some really nice looking places and up to some really cool stuff, so yeah. Elephant Gym is life. Matt, yeah, I really struggle with tapping while holding a pick because I like to anchor my thumb when playing fingerstyle. Okay. Is it reasonable just to play without a pick all the time? Yeah, it's perfectly reasonable to do. Yeah, a lot of bands just use fingerstyle, and I actually prefer it in most cases. It just doesn't really work so much in my band, fingerstyle. It's really good for controlling the volumes, and also how precise, how different Yeah. And you can come up with some really cool ideas playing that style as well. But it is hard to utilize that in a band that wants to be loud. That's what I'd say. All right. Yes. Yeah. Greetings from Brazil. It must be late there too, I think, right? Or is it getting late? I'm not sure. Jazzy K-pop songs. Oh, jazzy K-pop songs. I'm not really a fan of K-pop. My wife loves the stuff, but it just doesn't gel well with me, I guess. Jazzy K-pop. There's a lot of Korea, like K-pop, or a lot of R&B K-pop is quite popular too, and also ballad music is huge as well. So I don't really know any artists. I'm sorry. Can you play some Don Cavallaro riffs or solos? I did do that one song, Fire Back, about your new baby's sex. That math rock, famous math rock riffs I did. That's the only one I can play. Really wish there were more people my age that listen to math rock. I'm the youngest 17 in the scene here in El Paso, Texas. Yeah, on my demographics on YouTube, like the age range is dominated by 20 to 30-year-olds, and then the next one is 30 to 40, and then I think before that is 15 to 20 age range. Yeah. And it's like 98% male as well. No surprise there, I guess, right? Do you have any tips for starting to write for a full band? I'm used to writing solo riffs. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. Playing with friends that are interested in a similar style of music with you, that will help. If you can jam with them, you start to be able to put some ideas together. It's also important to not just force your ideas on other musicians, but also listen to what they have to say and what their input is as well. And it's good to have that safe zone when you're at home to construct your ideas, to write things, and then you can take it to practice and you can show it to your band members or musicians or whoever you're jamming with, and then get some feedback on that, right? So as long as it's like constructive criticism, it's no problem. It's one thing that's hard to take, right? After you spend hours on writing something and you take it to practice and they're like, oh, it's not so good, and you're like, oh, yeah, that can be hard to take. So any of my ideas that I write for the band, when I take them to band practice, they don't leave the same way. And I think that's a great thing, that everyone has their input on it and it gets crafted together so everyone is happy with it. The interpersonal relationship of the band is also very important. It's to keep the band going, right? So think of them things too. Oh, yeah, Harrison Ford. Thanks for the explanation on that. Hi, I'm a teacher as well. I teach high school math in North Carolina. Awesome. That's great to hear. And my job can be quite difficult because, as I said, English is a foreign language. So a lot of my day, I work in an office with 4 or 5 other Korean people. So there's a language barrier there too. So my Koreans are right to communicate, but I do feel isolated quite a lot of the time. So. Ooh. What's your approach to transcribing math rock songs, since they usually use alternative tunings? So if they do use a different tuning, I won't bother trying to work that out myself. I'll look online to see if somebody else has worked out what tuning it is in first, and then I'll put it in that tuning. And what you can do here is either watch a video. It's great if they have a video of them playing that song, so you can just slow it down and listen and follow along and try and work it out. And I go the tedious process of going bar by bar, and it takes a good few evenings to tap out one song for me, I'd say. But it's very good for your listening skills, and you learn a lot more about how other musicians play as well, which is also fantastic. So I'd say I do it like that, and I transcribe it into Guitar Pro. It can be easier with some bands that are not really, using a lot of odd rhythms, and easier with others that are kind of more just standard, 8th or 16th notes, for example, like that, in like straight beats. So what got you into math rock, and what were you listening to before? I did cover that later. Later. Oh, I did cover that earlier in the video. I said like bands like the Fall of Troy was what got me into, and like at the drive-in, it was more like mathy core stuff like Dillinger Escape Plan and like Daughters that got me into the kind of crazier side of math rock, I'd say. What I was listening to before, general rock, and as I said, like kind of emo music anyway, like the Ghetto Kids and Braid was another one like that, and yeah, I enjoyed that. So I'm sweating quite a bit, so sorry about the sweat patches. Have you got some musical guilty pleasures? Have I got any of them? Let's go through my album list. I really like Blink 182's earlier stuff. I'm not sure if that's a guilty pleasure. Or what else? Really big fan of Coheed and Cambria as well. Really big fan of them, actually. I love their music. What else we got? Big fan of Enter Shikari as well, I guess. Gary Newman, if you know who he is. My dad's a massive fan of him, so I've been into his music for quite a long time. Like electro music. It's got some really dark kind of styles as well. Really like Jeff Buckley as well, a fantastic songwriter. One of my favourite bands recently, just for weirdness, is probably Joan of Arc. I really dig them at the moment, especially their first album as well. Now I like NoFX, really big fan of NoFX as well. I like Steve Vai as well, the crazy guitar stuff, and Guthrie Govan as well is another one. Yeah, I'd say that's on my list there. Right, let's get back to the stream. Okay. Right. Here we go. How did you meet your bandmates? I did say this in the AMA. Ask me anything. That's right. Before I said MMA, or mixed martial arts, I think. Well. Now that was quite a funny story. I'd been in Korea for, I think, about 2 years at the time, and I was out drinking one night in the town centre near here in Daegu, and I didn't think there was any bands here, or any like band scene, because I was living in the countryside, so I didn't really get to know many people. And I was stumbling home one night after drinking quite a lot to get a taxi. There's this club, this basement like dive bar in Daegu. It's called Communes, and I heard this music coming up from down in the basement. It was very rhythmically and like very driven and very heavy. So I went down, and it was this band were playing. It's a 3-piece, and it was they're called Colours. They were called Colours, and the drummer and the bass player, so Ali and Andrew, who are in our band now, I should say, Mountains. They were in that band, and it was just like really rhythmically like driven music, and it's really good. I'll after this video, if I remember, I'll put a link in that for you, Colours, or maybe I can find it now. Mountains Bandcamp. But I think you might enjoy that. So yeah, I what is it? Recommended artists. There you go. Recommendations. This CD is really good. I think I can paste something here. I'm not sure if links really work that well. That's the one, yeah. And yeah, so I was flabbergasted that I found this kind of mathy style band playing, and then after them this post-rock band played, so I was like, oh, there's even post-rock going on here. And then the next day I found the events page on Facebook by typing in the name of the bar, I think it was, and I found the band, their Facebook, and I spoke to Ali, I think it was, and I said like, yeah, it was really cool last night. I didn't think that I'd hear this style of music, and I think he wrote back saying, you know, I see you play guitar, and you know, our guitarist in the band is leaving, so we're thinking we might try a new project or something at some point. So then, like later on, a couple of months later, I wrote Nothing New, the original version of that, and I met up with, I think it was Andrew, whilst Ali was on vacation, and we jammed that out. And then when Ali came back, eventually we got round to putting it together, and it went from there. So I was really, really lucky. Just a freak chance that I actually met them. So that's always good. So drinking is not always bad, is what I learned from that. So all right. Okay, what we got next? Scott, all right. Thank you so much. Love your channel. You're all pretty different from your styles. Yeah. Okay. You have a nice amount of yeah. There's a lot of styles going on here. So. I don't know how to play Focus by Tiny Moving Parts. Sorry, yo fave fat guy. Sorry. You should do some Koei breakdown videos, maybe on a different channel. Yeah, I guess so. They have some cool riffs, man. Like a. You just first two albums, and the third one, you know, Good, Apollo, and Burning Star 4, with the really overly long title. I really love them 3 albums. Yeah. Blink-182 is awesome. Oops. Are you a fan of Polyphia? Again, not listened to them, so I'll add them down. Thanks, Scott. Polyphia. I want to say thank you for the videos. Make an intimidating genre approachable. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's really hard to make videos and where to start on these kind of things, especially when you have a built-up knowledge of you know, playing in other styles and stuff. So I'm kind of learning through the journey with you guys. So you know, you're telling me what works and what doesn't work. So that's always fantastic. So, dude, wrench. I've been practicing tapping, but it sounds too quiet. What configuration do you recommend as far as pickups, strings, pickups, or maybe even guitar? Humbuckers are always going to be better, I think, for tapping, because they give you a thicker sound. If you're going to use a single coils, then you can use a compressor to help you there, but don't rely too much on the compressor. The technique is very important. So building up the strength, not only in these fingers, but in your left hand as well. And again, it's like anything that you practice with guitar, you got to spend a lot of time on it, right? It can be boring, but eventually it will pay off. All right, Matt, how important is tone for you? I find that math, I need a very particular overdrive setting when I'm not playing clean. Yeah, over here in Korea, because I played, you know, many different venues, and they have here they have like amps already, which is fantastic. You don't have to bring your own amps, but they can give you a different sound, right? But it never really affects my tone too much. Like I said, I just use a couple of pedals anyway. So I have my usually I'll put the amp on clean, and you know, that kind of toe sound, right? The you know, that really brash mid sound. So I have the mid on about 7 or 8. Treble on 5 and bass on 5, and you'll find if you just do that, then you're really, you know, have that kind of mathy tone already, and you'll cut through the mix as well with your band. You occupy that mid range as well, and I like to play on the middle pickup selector as well, so it sounds you know, very different. So that's on the bridge. Has that very 70s kind of rock feel to it, I'd say, with the. And then on the bridge and middle pickup, and then on the bridge, it's a bit too thick sound, so I just like to stick in the middle there. And it's a bit too. That's just a tone that I find that works for me, and I also use I like the tone of the orange amps as well for math, and very crunchy, very more occupy that kind of bass range, I'd say, with orange amps. And because this guitar's so bright, it suits this kind of amp. So I have the tone like that, and I'll have the gain usually around like 5 or 6 when I do use my pedals through that. But you know, I've used orange amps live before and it's really not worked, so it really depends on the kind of amps there. Alright, okay. So where are we? Cool. Right. Do you ever get stuck in a math rock loop, like write something in 4/4 and you think it's gonna? Yeah, that can happen. So with that, I tend to just try and mess around with the idea, you know, mess around with the timing or mess around with the rhythm of it is one way. You know, you got to think about your phrasing of the piece, and also it can just be sometimes, are you playing it too, attacking it too aggressively, or do you need to bring it down, or could you, you know, use the same chord sequence, like you're just playing something softer, you know, that's you know, a variation. Or playing it, you know, finger picking instead. And then you can have modulation, so using different effects as well, so that you could be even playing the same riff, and then, you know, and then you could loop that and do something over the top, or you could bring, you know, like a delay pedal over the top, or have some like that looping, and then you start to play some like, have some like washing reverb effect over the top, for example. So that would work. Do you do a lot of hiking in Korea? John asks. I wish I could do some more. It looks like your picture, you're on top of a mountain or something there. So, not done you know, that much hiking. I wish I could do more than I actually do. So, but I do enjoy it when I can do it. I don't really have a lot of time, as you can imagine. So, okay. Okay. Yeah, the band Totoro, I got into them recently as well. Someone recommended them again. Really, I've only listened to the first album, but instantly hooked on those rhythms and those chords and stuff. It's great. Reminds me a bit like of You Slut, the band as well, some of their rhythmic ideas. Do you think you'll play or attend the Art Tangent Festival? You know, that's a dream of mine to play that. I'd love to go. I think Ali was saying that he wants to go this August, I think it is, and hopefully I'll be over in the UK this August, so if it's possible I would go. It would be really, really good fun to do so. I used to go to, you know, Off the Cuff in Birmingham when they had that running at the, you know, the Flapper. They did. I don't know if I guess they don't do that anymore. That was years ago. You know, I had like, you know, Meet Me in St. Louis and, you know, all the big bands playing back then. So that was really good fun. Matt asks again, thanks very much for my questions. Last one, what do you think of Sleepy Dog? Yeah, I said earlier, just you know, really good for someone who's been playing for 2 years, but just got to work a bit more on the timing, but and making the playing more fluid. But like I said, it's very hard to do that when, you know, you're on camera and stuff like that. So I'm sure when he's at home, you can play those things. Just got to, you know, slow them down and take them slowly. But, you know, I'm always making little mistakes and stuff, so I can't really say anything. So, Douglas, what pedals do you use? Covered that earlier. So just an overdrive, a boost pedal, a chorus pedal, and tuner, and I recently got a looper as well. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, it's list of pedals. yeah. But I, as I said, I tried to buy a reverb pedal yesterday, but failed. C sharp. What chord is this? From on paper, it sounds like it's quite nasty. That's just sorry. What have we got there? A C sharp and a G sharp. Skip to your question. What did you ask? Sorry. So what other genres, I guess, do you listen to? Yeah, I said just like general rock and punk and like emo kind of styles of music. That chord, so they've raised the C to a C sharp there. It's just some kind of suspended chord. So the fifth has been suspended. So it's the minor sixth, and the first has been suspended. That's cool. You can use that. A little passover chord, I say. Alright. Okay. Do you play with more than one tuning on stage? I covered this earlier. Now I just play in standard tuning when I play live, and I tend to just write in standard tuning too. Love your content. Keep it up. Thank you. Totoro is awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Phil. What album did you discover math rock? Oh, whoa. Yeah, it's such a long time ago. As I say, I think it was The Fall of Troy. I really think it was that band. Maybe my friends could help me out here. Yeah, it was a while back. I'd say it's probably them. What's up, man? Nice to see you streaming. Okay. Do you know the name of that chord? Oh, you asked. Yeah, it's a chord. So let me write that down for you. So C sharp, and G sharp. So you need to make the C into a D flat instead. Make it easier. Change your G to an A flat, and you have C, D, E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So A flat as well. So balance and down goes D, E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, D flat, 6 is doing it. C. What would that be? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It sounds like I'm just saying out the alphabet here. I do realise I'm trying to work out that chord. Battle ends and down. So I think it's in A flat major. So it would be A. 1, 2, 3, 4. A sus4. Oh, okay. So let's say it'd be A flat. A flat. A flat. It's got the C, add the B, so A flat major 9 in a way. So you got the B, sorry, D flat in there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because you've got a third interval with the fourth added in there. So the A to C is a third, A flat to C, A flat major, and then you got the D flat there as well. So it's the fourth degree. So maybe someone can help me here. A flat, C, and D flat. So A major, omit fifth, add fourth. So I'd say it's that. I'll type that for you. A major. So you play no fifth, so you want to omit the fifth. A major, add 4, omit fifth. The thing is there, yeah, you're because you're playing. Omit the fifth because you're playing the fourth and the third degrees there. They clash with each other, so that's why they sound a bit, you know, it sounds very clashy. So you can add that there for tension, but if you want it to sound nice, it's not going to sound nice because of the third and the fourth degree. The C to the D flat are only a semitone apart, so they clash together like that basically. Like sevenths as well, but more flashy. Yeah, So hopefully that answers your question for you. All right, where are we? Okay, E, right, yeah, so it's a C suspended 4th, add flat 11th. Okay, thank you. That's another way of writing that. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, so A, that should be A flat major there. A flat major. Yeah, thank you, Sky. Yeah, that's right. A C suspended 4th, yeah, because we're adding the sharp. Where we C, G, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, I guess so, right? And C sharp. It's a flat 11th, right? Is that right? Add suspended 4th, C suspended 4th, because we got C and a C sharp. I don't think that's right. As my theory's all gone messed up here. C, D, E, F. C, D, E, F. C suspended 4th would give you the original notes. It would give you F sharp, not G sharp, you see. So. All right. Flat 11th. Yeah. So the flat 11th would be the F sharp, so it's become G sharp. I don't think that's right, you know. Again, it's just a chord there to add in some suspense. I think when you got the danger when you got like when you have like a lot of sharps, sometimes it's better to put it into a flat key instead. It's easier to work out that way. Yeah, C is the root. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be the root. That's the problem. It can be a slash, an inversion as well. You got to remember. So, all right. But how did you find your bandmates? I covered that earlier, Douglas. Sorry, it's quite a long story, so you'll have to rewind that back and watch that one. The profile pics from Jiri-san. Yes, awesome. Yeah, that's something I want to check out. I went to, for those who don't speak Korean, it's a mountain in Korea. San means mountain. Jiri, mountain. Jiri-san. I went to Jwangsan a couple of months back. That was really nice as well. Okay, getting near the end of the time. I did allocate 2 hours to this, so I got to meet I'm meeting up with Andrew to jam out some new song ideas soon. So, do we have any last questions? I hope this just doesn't cut off at the time that I left it. How many people we got? Total view time, peak current. And I've not even scrolled up, sorry, to see how many people are following this, but you guys are more important than the numbers that are following, of course. So G sharp, yeah, you put that before, right? I played, C on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, yeah, and G sharp on the 4th string on the 1st fret. Okay, I mean like on the 4th string, the 1st fret. Where are we again? Sorry, I'm just. Where's your message gone? I can't see it. 4th string, 1st fret. No, okay, like that. So yeah, and what we got? Yeah, it's getting the same tonality there. Like again with that cage system, you can just play things in many different places. Nice chord for suspense. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. That's great. Douglas, yeah, thank you very much. I'll try and be a bit more prepared next time. I need to do something with working out theory. I think I know, because it takes a bit of a while to work out some stuff, and I will invest in a better web camera than this one for next time, so you can see more in detail what I'm doing on the guitar. Yeah, so recap, if you're beginner, try and work out, try and get that book if you can, and get it on Amazon, the Creative Guitar one. And if you're looking for some new techniques, then try out the Advanced Techniques one. That's very good for getting you into your getting your alternate picking solid, and trying out like economy picking and things like that. And the first book is also a great introduction into theory as well. Yeah, I'll probably schedule some more of these. I'll try and work out all the books that are going on. So, and I really appreciate you guys for turning up. That's always good fun. I honestly, I woke up this morning and I was nervous about doing this, of course, and I was like, is anyone actually going to turn up when I start when I start streaming? And there's quite a few of you here, so I'm very appreciative of that. I will have a new poll up soon on my YouTube, the community thing, on about what lesson I will do next. It's quite hard to think of what ideas I want to do, but I have got a few floating around, and I do want to make another famous math rock riffs volume 2 as well, so some ideas for that would be great. Guy asked why a PRS SE, because the American series is too expensive for me, and this is made in Korea and I live in Korea, so it's really cheap to buy here as well. And like I said, hopefully one day I'll get something from the Core series range. That'll be like the ultimate guitar for me, so that would be great. Yeah, so I just got off work a while ago. sorry Max, it's hard to work out a good time. As I said, a good time for everyone, as my location in South Korea is very difficult time-wise, I guess, for everyone. So I got up quite early to try and accommodate everyone. But between Europe and America, it's quite difficult from South Korea. If you do a time zone check, you'll see why, I guess. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. I hope you keep on practicing and keep on striving to play guitar. Of course, that's what we all like doing, right? Thanks for all your questions as well. It's been great to chat to you all, and I'll see you next time. So thank you very much. See you. Bye bye.